Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.
Good. How are you, Suze?
Oh, I'm awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I very much appreciate it. I know you guys have busy schedules.
No, no, no.
Awesome. Marseille, I'll start with you. Your character, Yesi's motto is go fast. And I was wondering if you have a motto in your personal life that you live by.
Yes, well, my mom has always told me ever since I started in the industry is what's for you is for you, and what's for you won't miss you. Because we live in we're in an industry where, we can feel comparison a lot of the time, or we strive for a role that we don't necessarily have for us. And we it's very easy to feel discouraged. But my mom has always taught me, and my whole family, I have a very big family, to always stick to who I am and be unapologetically me through and through. And things will come as they may. And your journey is already written. Your story is already written. So just follow suit and things will happen the way it's supposed to.
I'm gonna need the
That's
transcript
wonderful.
on this because I'm stealing all of that.
Mm.
Go
That's gonna
ahead.
become my whole personality. That's gonna be my whole personality. Gaten, it's no secret that you are a massive Star Wars super fan since you were
Very much so.
seven. Since you
Yeah.
were seven, can you detail the exciting moment when you got not only the call to be cast as Sig, but that the Mark Hamill was going to be coming back to reprise his role as Luke Skywalker?
I was so jazzed when I found out that I was going to be a part of it. The imposter syndrome was still like locked in, like, but I'm like a really small part, right? And they're like, no, you're doing like this whole thing. I was like, no, okay, so I'm doing like a whole thing. And by the time like we were like in the process of recording it, when it first hit, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm actually gonna be doing this. If I told 7-year-old me that I was doing this, I don't think he'd be able to physically deal with it. And it was already surrounded by such an amazing cast, like Tony and Marsai and people like Bobby as well, who are just such wonderful people who I've been fans of forever. And I remember there were rumors about Mark, and like they were like, we're trying. And I was always like, it would be crazy, but I doubt it's going to happen. I'm sure he's sick of Luke. I'm sure like it's been so long. But when we found out he was on board, it was just, I was like, oh, it was the first time I was like acknowledged. I was like, oh, this is for real. This is like a for real Star Wars show. And then, of course, we have amazing other actors in it, like Ahmed as well, who came back to reprise Jar Jar. And yeah, it is the ultimate nerd project. My ultimate dream project is to do this, is to be able to play a Jedi and not have to do pull-ups.
You could be behind camera. You don't have to worry about doing no hair, makeup, none of
Don't need none of
that.
that.
Tony, Tony, you're no stranger to multiverse type storylines from Spider-Man to this. So since you are a Dark Devastator, can you tell me if I mean I have to ask you this, of course. There is no Star Wars conversation if we don't talk about the OG Darth Vader. Can you tell me what James Earl Jones means to you?
I mean, he means so much. He's an incredible artist who has conquered really on camera, theater, and voiceover. And the thing that I'll always remember fondly of him was, obviously Darth Vader is incredible and amazing performance, but it's Mufasa for me. The Lion King and what he did with limited screen time and everything he made. Emotions run wild in so many kids. I remember showing my little brother that movie and him in tears, at 5 years old, with the death scene. And
Wait,
it's
what?
but we'll talk about it later.
Spoiler alert.
We'll tell you about it later.
Wait, wait.
So it's incredible, and the fact that I get to play a Sith, and the fact that this is coming out, I'm just so grateful. That's been a dream of mine, and I get to follow suit, and hopefully I'm someone's father.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Oh, we'll talk later.
Awesome. Well, you guys did such an amazing you guys did such an amazing job. And this is my first Lego series that I've ever watched. So
No
it was
way.
yeah, it was great.
Yes.
So
They're all pretty
I
great.
yeah, I'm gonna be binge watching those when I get back home. But thank you
Good.
guys so much for your time, and I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Suze.
Thank you so much.
I'm awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking some time to speak with me. I very much enjoyed the series. So I was like, cool, I can't wait to talk to you guys, especially you guys that wrote it.
Thank you. That's extremely, extremely kind.
Yeah. So to kick things off, what were you guys' initial reactions when you guys got Mark Hamill to sign back on as Luke Skywalker? Dan, I'll start with you.
Disbelief. You know, what is the vomiting, crying, you know, like just, I mean, truly a stunned sense of how did this happen? You go through your career and there are certain touchstone moments where you say, in my wildest fantasies, maybe something this good might happen if I returned to my home. And I would say working with Mark Hamill, who I consider to be, if not the greatest voice actor of all time, to be sort of on the Mount Rushmore, for him to come back as Luke Skywalker, I couldn't believe it. And for him to say to us, part of the reason that he really was so excited to do this was because he read our script and he said, I think you guys really understand Star Wars, which is probably the greatest compliment that we have ever received in our career. And he was everything that we wanted him to be, obviously brilliant, but also making suggestions, really adding to what this character could be, finding a nuance to this version of Luke that you can write something, but until you hear the person do it, you just can't know how it's going to land. And when he just elevated every single thing that we did, and it was a magical experience.
No, I bet, because I mean, I feel like everyone has their fandom, and if you could associate yourself with somebody that's actually like a major character, major actor in that fandom, that's awesome. So, Benji, for you, in Rebuild the Galaxy, Turbo is given the ability to speak. What do you think would be different if R2D2 was able to speak English?
I think he would be even bossier to C-3PO than he already is. It would yeah, no, I think it's one of the joys of this was being able to like give voice to the droids that don't normally get to speak. And so yeah, I think the droids have a lot to say. R2 especially has been there for the entire saga and seen everything. You think he would be able to chime in at a certain point and be like, hey, Luke, let me explain to you a little context of what's going on here. But no, he's gotta just beep around.
He's got to use 3PO as his translator. I think that R2 would say a lot of rude stuff. I think he actually might be the sassiest member of the Star Wars galaxy. So I think that idea is sort of what informed Servo's character once he did get the opportunity to speak. And in fact, there's a little moment in the second episode where Jedi Bob says of Servo, this droid's got a lot to say. And that's before he actually gets his vocal capacity upgraded. And so it's a little overture towards what we're about to see.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that the whole time I was watching. I was like, man, what if this was something R2D2 could actually speak? Dan also thought that the crumbling of Legos to depict something dying or like destroying, I thought that was ironic because as kids built these massive like Lego work and then have like a sibling or a friend come in and destroy it, and then you're like your whole world crashes. So can you recall any time in your childhood or even adulthood, no judgment here, I have Daily Bugle Lego set. So can you think back to any time when you built like a massive Lego set and it was like destroyed or something along those lines?
Well, I thankfully did not have that destruction experience because I'm sort of obsessive and meticulous about my various collections. And so, for many years, I was very, very careful. But I recently had 2 kids. And let me tell you, there is nothing that my son, who is 4, likes to do more than destroy my daughter's Lego sets. I can literally look in his eye and I go, Saul, what's going on? And he'll be looking at what my daughter is working on, and he'll go, want to break it.
It's just in the DNA.
Just in the DNA. And so I think one of the things that you picked up on in the show is building and breaking are in many ways indivisible from what Lego is. And there's something powerful about that anything you build can be broken, but anything that you break can be rebuilt. And we really tried to get into that on a thematic level, on a philosophical level, for the relationship between Dev and Sig. and to really say that there are different ways of playing. There are different styles. People are going to use their Lego in different ways. And we really tried to make this an exploration of different personalities, different play styles, and also do it while telling a Star Wars story that we hope stands sort of on its own as a great Star Wars adventure, but also is making a commentary on the very nature of Lego itself.
Right. Thank you so much for that, because that is a great explanation to that. And Benji, you guys have tapped some like really great talent within this voice cast. Was the project written before or was it after and you guys like build in the talent? By the way, I have to give Tony so much credit because him as Darth Devastator was amazing. Like he was definitely the standout for sure.
He's incredible. I mean, the whole cast, like we're thrilled with our cast. I couldn't imagine anyone else in any of those roles at this point. But no, it's a lot of it we wrote, before we cast anyone. Some of the legacy characters we hoped, we wrote it in hopes that Mark would come back, that Anthony Daniels,
Kelly Marie Tran.
yeah, a lot, like we wanted all of them to return, but as we were writing the original characters, like we were just sort of writing the Star Wars characters that we had in our heads that we wanted to see, the story we wanted to tell. I mean, as we were starting to write it more and more, like I know, like for Sig, for our hero, Gaten Matarazzo was the first name we thought of, and we were fortunate to be able to get him, and yeah, so we wrote a little bit to that in mind as we were writing, I think in the back of our minds, but yeah, we wrote most of it before we had any of the cast.
But speaking of Tony, I think that he in many ways is the most difficult challenge in the show, because he has to be credibly the greatest brother in the world and also the worst brother in the world. And having watched some of Tony's work, whether that's in Spider-Man or Scream or some of the other things, I knew that he had the range to be able to dynamically pull off both parts, and he absolutely crushes it.
No, he really did. And this will be my last question and I'll end on this note. We can't talk Star Wars without talking about James Earl Jones. Can you guys talk to me a little bit about what he meant to you guys from adulthood, childhood, any projects aside from Star Wars? Like, what did he mean to you guys?
I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a bigger legend than James Earl Jones. I mean, like I look back at, my entire childhood is just full of James Earl Jones memories, from Star Wars to Lion King and all these iconic roles. And I mean, Darth Vader is the greatest villain ever, probably. And that performance is so terrifying and amazing. And I mean, what a loss, what an icon.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that we probably wouldn't be here if not for that performance, if not for capturing something all those years ago that continues to resonate now. But I also think it speaks to the absolute excellence of James Earl Jones' entire career. My other favorite role of James Earl Jones is Thulsa Doom in Conan the Barbarian. It's one of my very favorite movies. And what he accomplishes in that film is so rare. If you watch it again, he's a villain who starts philosophically in one place and over time changes his entire point of view on what life means, on what life should be, on how power should be applied and accrued. And it's a brilliant performance from a brilliant man. And I think that he brought that just unbelievable magnetism to every single thing that he did. And we all owe him a huge debt for creating Darth Vader and for leaving behind this legacy that we continue to explore and will continue to explore as, I think as long as they're making TV and movies, like Darth Vader is going to be a part of that conversation.
No, absolutely. And I agree. It's part of childhood. And now, I mean, it's just a legacy, one of a kind. But thank you guys so much for taking some time to speak with me. I know it's only 4 episodes long, but I do hope to see more. I hope it expands because there's more story to tell. So thank you guys so much for your time.
I hope so too. Thank you so much.
Hi, how are you?
Awesome. I'm great. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with me
Thank you for
today.
having me.
No, of course, of course. So I just wrapped up watching the 4 episode miniseries, and I was quite shocked because that's actually my first time watching a Legos production.
Oh, amazing. What did you
Yeah,
think?
it was great. It was really funny. And I didn't recognize your voice at first because I'm a big SNL person. So like
Oh,
I know you
nice.
from there. So I didn't really recognize it at first. But when I did, I was like, oh, okay, cool. There you go.
There you go. I hope
Uh,
that works. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I did think that the crumbling of Legos to depict death or something being destroyed, I thought that was really ironic because as kids, like when somebody like crumbles something, it does feel like the end of your world. So can you
Yeah.
think back on a time as a kid where you had like something, maybe a big Lego set that a
Uh,
sibling or a friend destroyed?
we could talk about it 12 hours ago. 12 hours ago, I got some of the Legos for this show for Rebuild the
Mhm.
Galaxy, and I spent a couple hours building the Dark Falcon, and I put it down on my desk. And last night, my 12-year-old daughter walked over to it and just picked it up, and it fell and smashed into pieces. And now I have to rebuild it again. I took a picture of it. It happened last night.
That's ironic. It's almost like I knew that.
Yeah, right.
It's like
It really
telepathically
did.
knew.
I couldn't believe it. It just the whole back of it crumbled, and I went like, "Oh man, I don't have time to put that back together right now."
Well, now she has to help you.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple years. She's one, so she's got some
Oh,
time.
no, that
I
makes
have two
sense.
kids. Yeah,
Uh,
7-year-old and 1-year-old.
where your character Jedi Bob says that meeting your hero is easier when you don't know the cost. So who is your hero and have you met them yet?
I mean, many times over. I feel like I am someone who got very lucky as far as like I was on a show for 10 years where they just usher celebrities in once a week, and you get to
Mm.
meet everybody. There's a very short list of people I haven't met that I want to meet. I think, and it's crazy. I guess for this one, I can tell the story of meeting George Lucas. That was pretty insane.
Okay.
It was at the 40th anniversary of SNL. And I was like, they had all these SNL books that we had to sign. And there was just a long table with like 50 books. And I was just going down the table signing all of them. And I hear Gilbert Gottfried talking. I'm like, oh, no way, that's Gilbert Gottfried. And I just hear, oh, he's very funny. And I was like, oh, and I turned around and I was like, that's George Lucas just said that. And I turned into a child and I said, my name is Bobby Moynihan. I'm on Saturday Night Live and I'm a big Star Wars fan. And he was like, okay, buddy, move along. And I was like, thank you.
Well, that's a perfect segue to my next question. I was like, I imagine that you are a massive Star Wars fan. So can you tell me what it was like to be attached to a project with Mark Hamill? Not only a project, but a Star Wars project with him.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be in a couple Star Wars cartoons, and I love it. And I think that's one of the reasons why they keep asking me to come back. Hopefully, is because I do love it so much. It is not lost on me that I have scenes with Luke Skywalker in this.
Mhm.
It makes no sense to me. I can't believe it. I love it. There's and he's so good in it. He's so funny in real life that I'm glad he's getting to flex that muscle a little bit in this because he's absolutely hilarious. He's one of the funniest parts of this whole thing.
Yeah, it was so like not what I was expecting. I thought it'd be a little bit more serious, but he was
Yeah,
definitely
no,
comedic relief
I
for
feel
sure.
like it's Star Wars can be very diversive for people, and this is very much just like it's okay. We're all laughing at it. We're all having a good time.
So when you initially attached to the project, was they just like, hey, it's going to be 4 episodes and we're going to see how it goes from here? Because I mean, there's such a massive fan base, and I can't imagine this just being it because it ended to where I felt like there could have been more.
I hope. I mean, like I hope. I'm a fan of a Star Wars trilogy, so that's my dream. I don't know. We don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But that's kind of the whole thing about Star Wars is what's going to happen next, and we'll see.
Absolutely. Well, we can't talk about Star Wars without talking about what James Earl Jones meant to you. Can you share some of your fondest memories of hearing Darth Vader for the first time and even like back in the day watching those movies, like what he means to you?
I mean, just as an actor alone, his range and what he did was absolutely astonishing. He's one of the best. My wife worked with him briefly. She was on Broadway for many years, and she worked with him briefly. And just the kindness and the poise, just the way he treated her and everything. just an astounding man. Very, very amazing and cool. With the legacy he left us with is forever.
Yeah, I think he's one of a kind, truly. Well, I genuinely thank you so much for your time. I've loved you, like every skit that I've seen you have just been so great. And then if you like had me crying like crazy.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.